Hi everyone. So as we talked about in class, we're going to be starting a CGI C++ lab, and this is the lab prep assignment. So you'll be focusing on practicing with functions, and we'll just be exploring the concept of using a web page as a user interface, which is different from what we've done so far, which has mainly been console, either in an online compiler or in the virtual machine. We've been using the port forwarding settings that allow us to access files from our VM just using the host machine web browser through localhost 8080. This is going to be very convenient for this lab. So if we add an HTML file, or in other words, a web page, to the VM, we can actually open the HTML page in the host machine browser as a web page. And then if we connect this HTML file to a C++ program that we write, we can use the web page as the user interface. Typically, this is just called a CGI C++ program. And in case you're curious, CGI stands for Common Gateway Interface. For a very basic program, we need at least two files. One C++ file and one HTML file, which is exactly what we're going to do for this lab prep assignment. The files are connected to each other through certain specific syntax, and we're going to go through what they are as we go through the creation of the HTML file. So we will create the HTML file first, and as we go through it, I'll try to point out all the key pieces that you should try to match up with your CPP file, either to make sure it works or to make sure things are consistent so you don't get confused later. So your HTML file will look very much like this. Your file will start off with an HTML tag, and it will close with an HTML tag. You'll have a little header section, which is open with this header tag and close with this header tag. And we'll have a body section, and other headers in this section will be the ones that show on your web page. And I just went through several things just to show you the different sizes. For this one, please make sure that you are customizing it. For instance, you can call it something else other than multiplication calculator. You can just call it basic calculator example, or whatever you want to call it. From CS102, put in your name here. For fall 2000, you can change it to October 2017 to make it even more specific. You might want to leave the please use whole numbers only, just because we're only going to use whole numbers. It gets a little more complicated otherwise. So that gives you your header right here. And if you save your file now, you can preview it, and you should see these headers that you've typed in. The next line is key here. You have to have this exactly as it says here, pretty much, unless you already know HTML and how it works. So then you can, I guess, do as you like, as long as you still fulfill the assignment requirements. So make sure you have an angle bracket, and then the form action, $, double quote, /, CGI-bin, /, and then this should be the name of your CPP file. So you haven't thought about what you want to name your CPP file. This might be a good time to take a minute or a few seconds and think about it. It's going to be Lab4 Prep. I don't know. Maybe it'll be calculator. Whatever you are going to name your CPP file. I'm just going to leave mine as malt.cgi. And your extension must be .cgi here. So far, if you save your file, and you should be saving periodically, you could go to localhost 8080 and pull up your file, and you'll probably see the first few lines from here to here. And then the line that we're on is this input box right here. So to make that particular input box, you would have a div tag, and in it you would indicate a style that you want, which is the color blue. I only did it to show you what it looks like. You can leave it black, you don't have to change the color and it'll default to black, which looks like the second line here for this. You have to include this tag label, and then this gives it the label of the input, the text that goes before the box. So you don't have to leave it as multiplicand 1. You can change it to something else, like enter a number. Oops, or something like that. But I'll change mine back to multiplicand 1. And then you have to follow that with this input tag, where you have the name, equal sign, and then double quotes, M, and double quote. You should have a better name than M. This size, you can change it to whatever you like. It controls the size of the box. Okay. This second div line right here gives us the second input box, and you see I didn't bother changing the color. So the default is black, if you remember what the example looks like. The input name here is N. You can change the size here if you like. Make sure you close these tags. And then this last line is a submit button, where I've just changed, instead of saying submit, it just says multiply. So make sure you put in div, the input type is submit in quotes, double quotes, and the value equals multiply, or whatever text you want to appear on the button. Close the div, close the form, close the body, and then close the tag. HTML file is ready. Make sure you save it. You should be able to preview it in your browser through localhost 8080. So that's it. I hope you have fun with this lab. Post any questions on Piazza. See you guys later.